And hello everybody, it is I, Carlton Flowers, back again, the Crypto Pro, with a special report because we have a lot that is going on. So we're just going to run through and take a look at what's happening in the markets. And I'm going to give you the one clue that I think is critical to whether or not we run into a bull market or if we have one final correction before all the action takes place. So let's just look at the overall chart here with Bitcoin with the nice, simple blue line. I'll turn off my video here and come back after I draw on this chart a little bit. So as we can see, we are quite a ways from that 2017 peak in December. And let's just make a nice big long trend line. Are we still in the midst of a downtrend? Or did this downtrend end here? And this is this the beginning of the next bull run? Well, there's a few things that we're going to take a look at. We'll look at some technical indicators first. And then we're going to have a look at what I think is a critical clue with whether or not we're going to enter into this bull market. All right, so let's go ahead and clear this off and check out the technicals on the Bitcoin chart. All right, moving right along to the trading view chart. Notice that we have this interesting formation that's happening right here. We've got this triangle that's happening right before our very eyes. And which way is it going to break when we get to the end of this triangle? Well, of course, if we get somewhere close to this apex and this one indicator, the secret indicator, is leaning towards a certain action, we're going to come out of here and the bull run is going to be on. But if this indicator flips and heads in a different direction, I think we're going to have one last capitulation before we hit on that road up. So now let's just zoom out a little bit. We see a big green line here and a big purple line. What does that represent? Well, first off, this green line is the second high point. Well, really, it's the third. It's a critical high point that we have not eclipsed yet, and it's somewhere around 12,000. And of course, yesterday we did briefly poke our head above 12,000 and it came right back down. But in order to convince me that it's bull market time, we got to break this level and stay above 12,000, at least 12,000, say 300, and I will be convinced. That's step one. Step two, we have to eclipse the previous all-time high. Of course, well, the all-time high of this current downtrend, which is roughly 13,900. Let's just call it 14,000. So let's go ahead and indicate on this chart that we have this level of 14,000 that we have to eclipse. And then we have right here a level of about, let's just call it 12,300. And I'm absolutely convinced that it's going to be time to go, to shoot upward. All right, well, let's zoom out even further and take a look at what that previous high looks like and the current action when we see this previous all-time high in 2017 of nearly 20,000. Now, looking at the overall trend, let's make another great big fat arrow that indicates the action. The overall direction of the market has been down. And as you can see, we've broken out of this parallel trading channel that I've talked about for the last, how long has it been? At least since the beginning of this year. I've been tracking the action. And when we first popped above this line, I thought, well, maybe it's an anomaly, but it stayed above that line. And then we had that major pump to the upside. So it looks like we're clearly outside of this descending trading channel, but are we really breaking out of this overall trend downward? I don't know just yet. And that's where we're going to have to look to the secret indicator that'll tell us if we are going to break out into this bull market. Okay, so let's flip over to this next chart. This is the secret indicator. I am on fxstreet.com looking at the US dollar. All right, let me turn off my face here so we can focus on this. Let me tell you how this coincides with the movement of BTC. When the dollar was losing strength and sliding like an iceberg landslide from the melting polar caps, This is the slide that coincided with the bull run of 2017. And then the minute that we hit that peak, that's when the dollar started to regain its strength. So let's clear that and just take a look at what the date is. Here it is, December. And then 2018 starts right here. And then we immediately, as the dollar gained its strength and went on this tear against all odds, this is the area where we had the slide, where the extended bear market had its reign of terror. That's right. All right. So what's going to happen now? Well, note that the current action that we see on Bitcoin coincides with this slide in the dollar. I mean, this is to the T, okay? It's down to the date. Let's look at the peak, which occurred somewhere on 3/20/2020. And then we had this triangle formation here. And then here's the capitulation of the US dollar that happened after the big dive when the pandemic set in. We rebounded with a fury. And then in June, this is where the dollar started to go on its slide. So let's just back it up and go over here to the simplified chart on Bitcoin. And let's zoom in a little bit here. Let me see. We're going to go to the 6-month chart. And let's ramp this up a little bit. And the beginning of the climb for Bitcoin after the dive happened on March the 20th. Here's June. So we had the side banding going on as the dollar started to slide, and then we moved up. So it's not exact, but boy, is that just uncanny that when this big slide occurred here, starting with June 19, and then we were in the full thick of it for June and July, running into August, that coincides with this movement here in late July, moving up to where we are right now. So we hadn't seen this side banding action right here. Let's just put a nice little blue line here. This is a long period of consolidation. So when we look at this as a consolidation period, yes, it does coincide with the strength of the dollar, with the dollar sliding down. Okay, so let's clear that out and run back to the dollar chart one more time and take note of one interesting thing. Here's the interesting thing that we need to notice. And I'm going to put a big green arrow so you can see this. There it is right there. That 1, 2 little green candles. We have a doji. And a doji usually represents a change in direction. Do we have a change in direction on the US dollar? There it is right there. So after that doji, we have a nice green candle with a body that closed, and this is the weekly chart. So what is happening from this point on? Well, I'll tell you this. The insiders who have been riding gold all year long, as the dollar is losing its strength worldwide, well, the insiders are now choosing the dollar over gold. So they're saying they believe that there's some type of a bounce that's coming with the dollar. How long will it be? Well, we don't know. Maybe it's a short-term gain and maybe it's a long-term. But even if it is a short-term gain, if this continues, we're going to see a correction in Bitcoin. In my opinion, don't take this as financial advice or make any rash decisions from what you hear on this video, but I believe that this will represent a correction in Bitcoin. And then once this resumes, which I believe it will, from the effects of the economy and all the printing of money going on by the feds, I think this big fat dive, this red arrow here, will coincide with the next bull market. I truly believe that that is going to be the case. So let's look at the Coinbase chart and then look at a few of the big boys and just see what we're looking like. So starting out with Bitcoin, let's run over here to home. Here we go. Bitcoin right now at this moment at 11,906.55. And if we can get this chart to pull up, let's look at the 1 year. Here is the run from the bottoming of 3,800. And then now we're sitting in the midst of this what it appears to be a bull flag. But is that going to break up or down? That, I think, is contingent on what happens with the dollar. But we're looking really good. What a nice ascent. We haven't seen this happen since 2017. It's been a nice, well, it hasn't been nice. It's been a long, tough road for Bitcoin as we've watched this descending parallel channel just drag on for over a year. And now we have this nice little poke here. So Bitcoin is looking good. Let's jump on back and look at Ethereum, which is also on the brink of a breakout, still in a side banding. I mean, when we look at this here, Ethereum is looking great. And although it is not experiencing the same breakout that Bitcoin is experiencing, when we look at the 1 month, we have this nice rise. And now we're on this little side banding right here where I think we're going to get to a decision point on Ethereum. But Ethereum is cooking hot and it's primed. The pump is primed for a breakout. So going back to the rest of the charts here, let's just look overall at the action. Everything is green on this chart today. Most of the projects on outside of Bitcoin, the altcoins are looking good, and there are a lot of massive gains. And some of the coin projects that I am taking a special look at are the ones that are centered around DeFi. Let's just look at a couple real quick just to see what they are looking like. And we're gonna look at these on the 4 hour. Lend is the first one. I held Lend throughout the slump, and I sold it once it went from 0.003 last summer, and it popped up to its peak. Let's zoom back in here. We are going to look at the 4 hour, and look what Lend is doing. We've been on a tear, and I regret the fact that I sold my bag at 22 cents. I think it was about a week or two ago before this run took place. And so we're on a nice steady incline right here. And I think that we could be on the verge of a small to a medium correction. So when Lend hits this ring right here, the 1.618 on this fib ring that is based on these swing channels that I set up. If you want to see how I do these swing channels, you can follow me on TradingView and you can see all the details. But nonetheless, these are some really magical fib circles that I have indicated on this chart. And I think we are going to correct and move down. Let's make that red. I think the correction could come nearly down to 25 cents if we have a rebound with the dollar. Now, if we go beneath 30 cents and head towards even a quarter, I'm jumping back on Lend because I think the upside is humongous. I really think it's got a lot more to do. We haven't seen anything yet. Now, outside of the big ones like Chainlink, I think there are plenty other DeFi projects that are in the beginning stages. I'm going to mention maybe just a couple more. MFT is one of them. Now, this is a good one. It's Mainframe, which I believe has the potential of replacing banks as we know it. Look at the tear that Mainframe has been on. I've been watching this since it was down here at the 0.009 level, and I was tempted to buy in somewhere around the 0.002, and then I just watched this pop happen. Now, again, I think we're going to have a nice little correction here depending on what Bitcoin does. We should see a correction that brings us back down to maybe the 0.0025 level. And at that point, I'm jumping back on the bandwagon. I'm going to get back in. There are a couple of other projects that I am buying back into. One is Loom. Let's just look at Loom that trades on Coinbase Pro, which means you can pretty much trust that there's a lot going on with this project. If they're listed on Coinbase, if it's something that you could trade on Coinbase or Pro, you're probably pretty safe. Now, I jumped on Loom. I think I bought in right at 0.02, and I've been watching this as it's gone on this nice little tear, breaking outside of this. As soon as we hit this fib circle ring here, this magical fib circle ring at the 1.618 based on the current swing channel from a low point at 0.013 all the way up to the peak that we saw last week of 0.027. You can see that as soon as it crossed this 1.6.8, it bumped right on up. Now, we should have a minor correction, but overall, I think the trend for this project is just going straight up. Now, let's look at one other that I have on Binance Pro that I am playing, and that one is DNT. Okay, that is District 0X. And this is a fun little project. I jumped on this one at 0.0078, somewhere in this area, and we have watched it just go on a complete tear. This is an uptrend if I've ever seen one. Overall, we are just headed upwards. And I think that just like the rest of them, a correction is probably going to be forthcoming. And when it does correct, I think we may jump back down to this green trend line. So by the time we get close to the 3.618 fib circle ring, and I'll be writing about this on TradingView, look in the comment section. You can click on the link and you can follow me on TradingView and see the commentary that I'll be giving you on DNT. I think we're going to come down to this ring, at which point I might jump in and get another bag. Okay, I am still involved with XRP. Let's look at XRP and where it sits right now. This one is a tough one. What are we forming here? It's sloppy. We had a breakout at the end of this triangle where it looked like we were going to dive down, but as soon as we got down to the 1.618 fib circle ring, this light red ring, it bounced off that ring and it's moving up. So we're looking pretty good, and I think this one is going to reflect what happens in Bitcoin. However, I do think that XRP is going to be due for a bump, at least up to the $1 to $2 level pretty soon. And based on what happened before, hitting an all-time high of what, $3.28, I think it's possible that it could triple that. Now, of course, with a float that is astronomical, let's just look on my little Excel spreadsheet. This is something that all of you should do. Break down each coin that you're wanting to invest in. If you want the 10 bagger or the 100 bagger, you got to be realistic and check out what the circulating supply is, what the float is, and what the amount in circulation is. So, for example, XRP traded at 0.2935. We got a total supply of 100 billion. That's a lot. Now, they've got 44 billion that's sitting out there being traded right now. So that means in the float is 55 billion and the market cap is at $13 billion. Okay, that's pretty good. And that's why XRP is what? Number 3? Is it number 3 right now? I'm not sure. But looking at some of these other projects that I've got my eyes on, when you look at this float and you look at the circulating supply, you can see why certain coins have experienced the pop that they have had, like Band, which is an excellent DeFi project that I might jump on, even though it's already made a major move. But look at this. Circulating supply is only 20 million. The total supply is only 100 million. Compare that to some of these other garbage projects, or even looking at MFT. MFT, you're looking at 9 billion in circulation, which is bumping its head up on the 10 billion in total circulating supply. So that's a good thing because it says that it's got a ways that it could get pumped up high if we bump up against that limit. Whereas Band, it's got a little bit of a ways to go if they authorize and release more of what is in the total supply. But this is why we saw that price bump up to $15. I think it still has upside. But as you're looking at your favorite projects, you need to check this out. Looking at Cardano, I'm not a fan. 31 billion in circulation, 45 billion in total supply. That's why the price is not going to really move that much. It's not going to be a 100 bagger, in my opinion. Now, on the other hand, when you look at something that is a lot more realistic with the numbers, Ethereum Classic, for example, only 116 million with a 210 million total in supply. And so market cap is 821 million. Even though I don't know what people are going to use Ethereum Classic for, this has potential. Now, as far as something that is similar, that is at a price range of, 20, 30, 40, 50 in the Litecoin category, look at BNB, $22 price. Total float at 32,000. They've got 147 million in circulation with a cap at 179, market capitalization of 3.3 billion. Now, this is the one that is going to be used similar to Chainlink over on Binance. And plus, the supply only goes down because they burn the coin as it is used for the purposes that it was put into action for. You could research it and find out. I won't explain all that here, but that just lets you know that there's a lot of upside for BNB. Small little crap coins like Doge, I jumped out of. We don't even know what the circulating supply is. We know that there's 125 billion out there. Now, I did invest into Doge. I took a 10% gain on it and I got rid of it. I did invest in BTT, which has a ridiculous total supply of 990 billion. That's pushing on 1 trillion. That's just stupid. But I did take about a 7% gain on it, and I'm going to put that into Lend. Now, looking at Lend sitting at 40 cents, circulating supply is 1.2 billion. Not bad, but look at the total supply, 1.29 billion. Wow, lots of upside. So all I can say right now in conclusion is keep your eyes on the DeFi projects and keep your eyes on the dollar index, which will tell us what's going to happen with Bitcoin and how long it's going to be in its final correction, if it goes into its final correction. If you've got a coin that you'd like me to break down and give an opinion on, let me know what it is. This video has already gone way too long, but it's been a while. I wanted to go over these quick few things for you to get you up to date, and I'll be back very, very soon. Like I said, follow me on TradingView if you want to see the breakdown. And coming soon, I'm gonna have a series of videos. Let me just show you the artwork. This is kind of cool. And then I'll be done for the day. We're going to jump on down here to my artwork file. And I'll give you the sneak preview. Let's jump in here to my YouTube art. And here we go, Crypto Pro. Here we have it. What I am going to do is disclose each and every time I jump on a new project, okay? And if I can find that artwork here, where is it? I gotta scroll down. I need to put my glasses on. Let's see if I can find it. This is gonna be fun. It'll be worth the wait. Trust me. Let me scroll through here. I should have had this waiting before I even started the video. But of course, I'm not prepared. But like I said, it's worth the wait. All right, let's organize this by view and details and grab a date. In fact, I ran out of time here. Okay, here we go. All right, let's just open this up. Let's cancel here. Oops, that's not it. I really thought I printed a picture of this, but we'll just have to go to my art program. Trust me, this is worth it. This is really, really cool. This is so cool. I'll have to play my ending music after I get this done. So let's open this up. Here we go. Crypto Pro, and here it is, folks. All right, now I can start the theme music back as we build up to this new project, and here it is. It's gonna be called, drum roll, I Got a Bag. That's right. So anytime that I make a purchase, I'm gonna do a video, and when you see on YouTube this logo, this splash screen, it means that I just bought something, and I'll list what that coin is, like XRP. If it says I got a bag, you want to watch that video and find out why I did. And then, corresponding to this, if I dump a bag, I'm going to post this and it's going to have an empty bag and it's going to say, I dumped a bag. So stay tuned for that. Coming soon, you'll know everything that I'm going to do play by play. Thanks for watching. And like I said, if there's a coin you want me to look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to focus on it. This is Carlton Flowers, Crypto Pro, and I am out. See ya.